a warm welcome to At Hyde Park, a special and exclusive discussion we have here in Colombo with the visiting Deputy Spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan, Mariko Kaneko. A very warm welcome to you and Ayubowan. Of course, with the crucial visit of the Japanese Foreign Affairs Minister to Sri Lanka, much of the discussions focused on Sri Lanka's debt restructuring process and bilateral ties between Japan and Sri Lanka. I'd like to turn to the Deputy Spokesperson of the Japanese Foreign Ministry. This visit, how important is it for Japan?
Yes, Foreign Minister Kamikawa Yōko, Foreign Minister of Japan, chose to visit Sri Lanka this time for the first time for her as a foreign minister. And this is a very important visit for Japan because Sri Lanka and Japan has fostered a very friendship relation, and this is based on trust, which we have fostered over 70 years of our diplomatic relations. And Japanese people will never forget what Sri Lanka did to Japan. Sri Lanka's then president after the World War II, in 1951, encouraged Japan's return to international community at that time. And so since then, Japan has been with Sri Lanka when Sri Lanka needs support. And we have been supporting Sri Lanka's peace building and reconstruction after the Civil War and during the Civil War. As well as now, as you mentioned, 2 years ago, Sri Lanka has faced economic default. And since then, Japanese government has been extending assistance in many aspects to meet the needs of the Sri Lankan people.
You mentioned about the economic crisis and the support Japan has extended to Sri Lanka, and at the same time, Japan led the way in holding discussions with the creditor nations and is co-chairing the official Creditor Committee. The Japanese Foreign Minister, who spoke earlier to the media, mentioned about the agreements in principle reached with the official creditors. How will this take shape going forward, and is there an indication of when we will see these being transformed into Memoranda of Understanding?
Yes, as my minister, Minister Kamikawa Yōko, made a statement at the press conference just after the meeting with the Foreign Minister of Sri Lanka, His Excellency Mr. Sabri. As she mentioned that, we have the official creditors committee in Sri Lanka, which the official creditors committee, which Japan is co-chairing, has agreed in principle with Sri Lanka government about the debt restructuring, and now we are in a process of coming into the wordings of the Memorandum of Understanding, and I think it is in the process. And and Sri Lanka government also needs to make efforts in doing that. And our Minister Kamikawa expressed her expectation for the early signing of the Memorandum of Understanding on this matter.
If you can explain to us what this will mean for Sri Lanka going forward, and also you mentioned that Sri Lanka too has to play a role. What is expected of Sri Lanka here?
Well, I believe that Sri Lanka's government is now making efforts to do the reforms, the fiscal reforms and economic reforms in many areas, and Japan fully supports that and that efforts, and that is, I think, ongoing now. And in order to come to sign the memorandum of agreement, those efforts need to be advanced more, and eventually we believe that we will be able to sign. The official creditors committee will be able to sign the agreement, the understanding, with the government, your government. And right.
You also mentioned about how Japan has remembered Sri Lanka for the efforts and the actions during the famous San Francisco conference. Of course, Japan is recognized and known in Sri Lanka as a very grateful nation and has extended much support to the nation. But there have been times when ties between Sri Lanka and Japan took a halt or maybe took a different turn. How was this viewed in Japan, especially with certain important projects being halted? And another question to it, has there been any discussion centering the progress or resumption of these projects?
Our bilateral relation has been, I think, all throughout these years, throughout 70 years, has been a very friendly and relationship based on trust. And I think what you're trying to mention is about our some of the projects that Japan has extended has been postponed or suspended. I'm sorry, suspended due to this debt restructuring issue. And so today, Minister Kamikawa at the press conference, she stated that Japan is, will swiftly resume these existing projects that, once the Memorandum of Understanding is signed, and the Sri Lanka's government will agree to have bilateral agreements on it. So we stand by Sri Lanka to support the development of Sri Lanka.
What important decisions have been taken to support Sri Lanka in the recovery process going forward, especially with the visit of the Foreign Affairs Minister?
Yes, so we have been extending many assistance to Sri Lanka. Not only, for example, to meet the basic needs of the people of Sri Lanka, like for example in the healthcare sector, or maybe in agriculture and fisheries. And also Japan and Sri Lanka is both island nations. We share lots in common. And also Sri Lanka is located in a strategic location in Indo-Pacific Ocean. And for Japan and Sri Lanka, we believe that maritime order, the free and open maritime order based on rule of law, is very important. And in that context, Japan has been supporting the improvement of the maritime patrol, the security capabilities of Sri Lanka by extending patrol ships. And this time, Minister Kamikawa expressed that Japan will offer another vessel equipped with a sonar system that will compile the maritime nautical charts so that Sri Lanka's government will be able to increase its capability in maritime domain awareness.
And how or when do we expect Japan's offer to Sri Lanka?
I cannot say when, but it will go. We will, I think, communicate with Sri Lanka government.
And back to the visit of your foreign minister to Sri Lanka, you have had some key meetings and crucial discussions with Sri Lankan authorities and political leadership, as well as other officials and the opposition leader himself. How has these discussions taken shape, especially to support any decisions or any collaboration going forward? And what has the nature of these discussions been?
I think, still the meetings are still going on now, and what I know is that the meetings with the foreign minister and the courtesy call on the president and the prime minister have been very fruitful, and I think we were able to confirm our strong relationship based on trust and friendship. And we share lots in common. We share values, and as a island nations, we will Japan is committed to promote stability and development of Sri Lanka, and also in this region, and this is because it is very important for Japan too. The stability and the economic development of Sri Lanka is very important for Japan, and so Japan has been also supporting the national conciliation of Sri Lanka as well. Mr. Akashi Yasushi is a Japanese who's really has devoted himself in the past for the peace building and the reconstruction of the Sri Lanka. But we are still continuing to do so. Our ambassador here is also committed to supporting Sri Lanka government.
And what is Japan's view now on the relationship? You mentioned, you stress on the building on the trust and the collaboration that has been developed over the past 70 years. But how will this move forward? And especially the recovery stage. Japan has been observing Sri Lanka's recovery, coming to the support in terms of mobilizing creditors and other nations to one discussion table. But going forward, what are your views, or is there an observation that the Japanese government and officials have made of Sri Lanka's recovery?
We are very, Japan, as I mentioned, and I think Minister Kamikawa also mentioned in her statement that Japan is committed to Sri Lanka's, economic recovery and the debt restructuring process, and so we will continue to support Sri Lanka to be able to sign the Memorandum of Understanding as soon as possible.
And one last question about the reforms agenda and the sustainability of these reforms. I'm sure Japan will have much to share from your own experiences of having lasting reforms and making them sustainable. Any experiences you will be or have been sharing with Sri Lankan authorities?
I think Japan, from our experience, believes that human resources are very important. So educating people is very important, and in this aspect as well, Japan would like to collaborate with Sri Lanka to promote further strengthening of human resources, and also people-to-people exchange between the two countries is also very important in fostering and this friendship furthermore, and this will, and for the young people of both countries, it is very important to have more people-to-people exchange, and we would like to promote those aspects as well.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for your time during your very brief visit here in Sri Lanka amid discussions. We have been in conversation with Ms. Mariko Kaneko, the Deputy Spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan, who's currently visiting in Sri Lanka in line with the visit of the Foreign Affairs Minister of Japan, who is visiting Sri Lanka currently. Yōko Kamikawa, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, is visiting Sri Lanka in line with Japan-Sri Lanka bilateral ties and taking it to the next step. Thank you for joining us on this At Hyde Park exclusive, brought to you from Colombo.